What's going on, YouTube Metal Complex here, and today I've got another top favorite video to do for you guys. I really enjoy doing these top 5 and top 10 videos, and you guys seem to really like them too, especially when I do them on the weekend. So I'm going to try to make that a regular thing. I've got a few ideas for some good top 5 or top 10 videos, so I'll try to do them there. If you're new to this channel, what I like to do is laid back knife reviews, knife overviews. I also like to do battles and comparisons between knife models that compete with each other. And as I mentioned, top 5, top 10 videos, and also unboxing. So if that sounds like your cup of tea and you like watching channels that upload between 5 and 10 times a week, this might be the channel for you. Also, if you've been around for a while and you've been enjoying my content, if you'd like to support me, you can follow my Patreon link in the description and support me for only $1. Anyways, let's go ahead and move in here. The knife in front of you is, of course, the Microtech SOCOM Elite. And as much as I would love to say that is the first entry here in my top 5 favorite blade shapes that I have access to. Keep in mind, guys, this list is going to be knives that I have access to. If I had access to every single knife in the world, it might be a little bit different, but these are ones that I have access to. Either way, I think you'll be very entertained by this. Going after aesthetically wicked blade shapes here, by the way. I would love to say that this is the first one on the list, but it is an honorable mention. The Microtech SOCOM Elite has an amazing sort of combination drop point, clip point blade with a large swedge up top. You can see that line carrying deep out here to about 65-70% the length of the blade. It's also quite thick at 0.187 stock thickness, about the same thickness as an XM24. It's just a nasty looking blade. I mean, seriously, how cool is that? About a 3.8, 3.9 inch blade, maybe even 4 inches, I can't remember. Very, very large, very aggressive looking blade. Can't put it on my top 5 given the other ones that I've got, but it is definitely an honorable mention. Moving on to yet another honorable mention. This is my Steelcraft series bag knives 3/4 Quaken with the Persian style or scimitar style blade shape. You can see that upswept tip actually rising above the point where it starts back here. The very aggressive, almost, it actually is a double swedge up top. You can see that line actually dividing this initial swedge and then dropping yet again into a swedge that meets this line out here before it drops down to the cutting edge. That combined with this very aggressive looking fuller, and of course the super pointy tip that's involved with a blade shape like this. Also combined with the fact that it's got two, well, it's almost like a double flipper tab. You know, it's almost like a front flipper there. This blade is just ridiculously aggressive, and I had to include it as at least an honorable mention because it truthfully is not only beautiful but very aggressive looking and certainly very wicked. So that's it for honorable mentions. Let's move on to, truthfully, the first one on my list. And, you know, to some of you, you'll agree, and some of you might be a little bit let down considering the first 2 that I showed there. But honestly, I love this blade shape. The knife we're going to be using as an example, as this blade shape, is the Artisan Orthodox. This knife looks exactly like an old school straight razor, and you know, the Gerber flat iron was an attempt to make that cool. You see it in knives like the Red Horse knives. What is that? Is it called the Red Death, or is it called the? Oh, it's called the Hellraiser. That one's really cool. You know, different knife manufacturers are kind of dancing around getting this right. I think Artisan Cutlery in the Orthodox, the knife you're seeing in front of you, is the closest to making it really cool, especially since this knife can be had for about $60 in G10 and D2. But I love this blade shape. It's simple, but it's aggressive in kind of an eerie way. The idea of using a straight razor style knife as an EDC knife, you know, having a flipper tab and having it be on bearings, is really appealing to me. I don't know exactly how utilitarian a blade shape like this would actually be, but man, is it cool. And to some people it's going to be really cool, to some people it's going to be kind of scary. It certainly is unique, especially in today's knife world. Keep in mind, of course, there's no actual tip on it, so puncture tasks are all but completely out of the question, if not completely out of the question there. So let's move on to number 2. I'm sure you guys are thinking, my subscribers are thinking, surely he's got a Hinderer on his list. I do have a Hinderer on my list, but I bet you it's a blade shape that you wouldn't guess. My favorite looking, not in terms of function. Remember, this list doesn't necessarily have anything to do with function. It's just aesthetic appeal. My favorite blade shape from Hinderer knives, as far as how it looks and that I have access to, is the Hinderer XM18 3.5 inch fatty harpoon tanto. Tantos themselves don't have that much of an aesthetic draw to me, but this one here with that harpoon notch, oh yeah. Yeah, I'm a big fan of that. That's really cool. This one is actually utilitarian, given the fact that you can actually choke up here and rest your thumb up there, making it great for push cuts or scraper type tasks. Not that this is a list that has anything to do with utility, but that is a very, very cool looking blade shape. I love that, specifically about this portion and beyond. Really, really nice. The thickness of the blade also being 0.187, a lot like the SOCOM that we showed at the beginning, also kind of adds to the appeal there, but just really wicked, really aggressive looking, and it kind of fits with the whole theme of the knife being this sort of super tough, overbuilt frame lock folder. I am definitely a huge fan of that. Might be a little bit biased considering it is a Hinderer, but that's one of the, that's kind of a unique tanto blade shape that's out there. Okay, moving into some of the more dramatic picks. This is a knife that you guys have not seen for a while on this channel, but one that I definitely love. This is the Riot Jack in marbled carbon fiber and Damasteel. That blade shape is ridiculous. And not only the blade shape, but the fact that this is Damasteel on top of it. This is a 4-inch Damasteel blade. Coming down to a clip point style blade, but it's double notched up here. So, I wouldn't call them harpoon notches, but just the fact that it's got those 2 notches up top, much like the blade that you would see on the Chris Reeve Umnumzan, except, in my opinion, substantially more aggressive. The way that it fires out, the way that it's shaped, and of course the finish with the Damasteel, oh my gosh, this is just crazy. Not one person that I have flipped this knife out in front of him. Believe me, I'm selective who I'll show some of these more aggressive folding knives. Not one person hasn't jumped just a little bit seeing that. Because it's a lot to take in all at once. Focus. My camera's even having trouble looking directly at it. But this is a lot to take in all at once. I mean, it's beauty and, aggression and just, it's a very large blade. This blade is over 9 inches, definitely. To give you a size comparison, if you didn't watch my review, another large knife is the Ontario Rat Model 1, coming in at 8.6 inches. It kind of looks like a baby compared to the Riot Jack. So, on top of that, I know this video is not about the handle materials, but the handle is made out of marbled carbon fiber, and we've got flamed titanium in the integral frame. So this whole thing is just kind of bonkers. I love this thing. Really, really cool, and definitely on my top 5 most favorite wicked blades that I've got access to. All right, we are down to the last 2, and definitely the most dramatic of this list. Moving on into the second most dramatic blade shape or blade design that I've ever seen, or that I have access to at the moment. You heard me flip it out. Some of you might actually recognize that sound because it's definitely been shown on my channel before. In fact, we'll go ahead and close it and flip it out for dramatic effect. This is my friend David's Bagatti Starstrike. Mirror polished CTS XHP compound drop point harpoon style blade, I guess is what we'll call it. It is certainly a unique blade shape given the compound scallop here and then the flat ground main edge. Look at that harpoon notch and that swedge up top and just that amazing mirror finish. This is absolutely aggressive, absolutely over the top, incredible. Of course, combined with some of the other aesthetics of the blade, I mean, it's just crazy. It's so much to take in. It's one of the only knives that actually takes away, or when shown at the same time as the Riot Jack, actually takes away from some of its glory. Yeah, Jack is actually slightly a larger knife, but that Bagatti, oh my gosh. I mean, it's not much can steal the spotlight of a Damasteel blade, but that Bagatti, that mirror finish, in my opinion, not everybody's going to agree, is just over the top. Absolutely crazy, absolutely deserving of the #2 spot on my list. Let's go ahead and move on to the #1 here. Now, the #1 knife is also owned by my friend David, and also a bag knife. It's one that many of you have already seen on this channel but may have forgotten about. This is the Bag Knives Custom Osteo. And this to me is just one of the most magnificent blades that I have ever seen, if not the most magnificent blade that I've ever seen. You know what it reminds me of, given the fact that it is a reverse recurve, tanto, spanto, something or other with a harpoon notch up at the top. That's got a little fingerprint on it. That is, I'm going to take the time to wipe off. All of those things combined with the Bag Knives signature blood groove. It looks like a Hinderer Knives Hellfire blade that's been slightly modified to be even more ridiculous. This is absolutely one of the coolest blades that I have ever seen, and I think Bag Knives really knocked it out of the park with the design. Every time I flip this thing open, I'm just blown away by it. It's absolutely unreal. I just love it. About a 155 thousandths thick blade. Runs on bearings. This knife is 8.25 inches overall, making it a much more reasonable size if you were really going to carry it, which, believe it or not, David actually does. But I'll just give you a sec to take that in because it's so beautiful. I am such a big fan of that blade shape. It's just insane, especially out here. That's just unreal. Awesome, awesome. All right, guys, that is it for my top 5 favorite wicked blade shapes. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, of course, please leave a like. And if you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like. So please check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, then please subscribe to my channel because there is definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.